Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, let's get started. Make the mudra for the mandala offering, please. Here is the great earth, filled with the smell of incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain of four continents wearing a jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratnam Mandalakam Niryatayame. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration, wisdom, I will attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. Okay, we made it to the end of the course 6. We're starting our review. And the first one up is Katya with question number 1.
Hi, hello everybody.
Oh, wait, we haven't rejoiced. Oops. Okay, we'll do rejoicing first. Avilda, do you have something you can rejoice in?
She's in silence retreat.
Oh, sorry. Okay, never mind. Okay, Daria, what do you have to rejoice in?
Well, I'm rejoiced. First, I saw you and Lama Sarani in retreat, but I saw online, and I saw a photo with you and Lama Sarani. It's amazing for me, and I see now you feel better. I think so. Yes, and
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I do feel better, and
how's your wife? How's her health?
she's doing much better. We both have an annoying cough that isn't going away, but she feels much better. Thank you for asking.
Please care. Please take care. Please.
We're doing our best.
Thank you.
Thank you for the thoughts. Svetlana, what do you have to rejoice in?
Hello, dear Venerable Sumati. Hello, everyone. I am rejoicing in like in supporting my colleagues, in helping one of my colleagues to manage those issues that she was reluctant to have business with. So supporting emotionally and to answer with more patience. And I'm rejoicing in it. So in future, when I will face with similar situation, it will help me to manage such challenges. And also I'm rejoicing in connecting some students with the ACI opportunities to organize events. So it will help me in the future, so that I will get some connections which can help on the path.
Very good. That's exactly how it works. Very good. Okay, Katya, you're rejoicing.
Hi, I rejoice that today we are gonna finish course 6 and that we will have the transmission of Diamond Cutter. And I rejoice of Awilda Silence Retreat. I'm very happy that she's doing that virtuous.
Good, good. Thank you. And we'll see you in a week from now. That's good. Well, I don't know. That's an awful lot of seeing the three of us. I think, I don't know. It's going to be fun. Okay,
sure.
Evgeny, what you have to rejoice in?
Всем привет.
Hello, everybody. Today, I want to share with you that I see around me people who start to understand emptiness, as if they are real professionals, as if they are all Buddhas and they all understand, as if they explain to me everything what I need. And I think that I have never experienced this before, that people understand so good emptiness. And I think that I don't understand anything, but they understand better than me. And they explain it better for me. And I'm so happy that I see so many people around me who can explain to me, who can say that this everything comes from you. It's like a pen, and I'm very happy about it.
Very good. It's very important to see well, I look at it this way. Everyone, my students, everybody are my teachers. Now, sure, there's Geshe Michael and Lama Christie and other major teachers in my life. But I learn as much, if not more, by observing my students and taking what they're doing as a lesson for me. So the fact that you're surrounded by people that you think know more about emptiness than you do is wonderful, because you're listening and you're learning, and that's a very important trait. So congratulations. Tatiana, you're up now.
Добрый вечер. Я могу говорить.
Good evening. I can speak with you. I'm very happy that you and your wife are getting better. I wish you good health. The seeds are ripened of connection for me, and I'm jumping to the ceiling from happiness. For 5 months, I passed 5 courses, 5 ACI courses, and they didn't check. They were not checked. And I didn't pay attention. I saw that they are just on the checking procedure, checking process. And then one course came to me and is waiting for certification. And yesterday I got 2 works to be checked. And today my technical person wrote to me that one more work of 7 ACI course is checking right now. ACI 18 is now on the shelf. I have some questions about it, and I'm very happy about it. And I give you like an offer for you, my dear teacher. And also I have one question for you, if is it possible.
Okay.
Завтра начинается
Tomorrow there will be Delam 3 by Venerable Jigme and Gelse. Can I participate in Delam? My karmic partner finished 18 courses and I have 6 more left. So I have such a question. Can I participate in this course, dear Lam?
Oh boy. We didn't get Dalam until we'd finished the 18 courses. So I think it would be better for you to have finished the 18 courses than to step into the Dalam. So I would say no, I don't recommend taking it.
Благодарю. Я все поняла.
Thank you so much. I understand everything. Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations on all the courses you're getting done. That's very impressive, especially since it's in a different language. Nellie, what do you have to rejoice in? Nellie?
Можно еще вопрос?
And one more question, please, if it's possible.
Okay.
Если я вот когда начинался ретрит, Будда
When Buddha medicine retreat started, we got Bodhisattva's vows. And in summer, you gave me vows of lifetime vows. And now I got wishes vows. When I will learn next course, can I refresh these vows by you, or I don't need it no more?
Certainly we can refresh the vows anytime.
Благодарю.
So
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We can do it as a form of action instead of the wish if you so desire. Okay, Nellie, you're up.
Добрый вечер всем участникам.
Good evening, everybody. I want to share with you on the 20th of October, I took like the pause in food, in eating. And yesterday I got some problems with my health and I was a little bit upset about it. But then I understood that it means that I have some problems with health and that I can change this situation. And after it, I can return to this procedure and come to the final stage. And I'm very happy that these obstacles helped me to understand the problems with my health. I'm very grateful for this.
Good, good. Well, I wish you speedy recovery or your health improving. You look healthy. Okay. Alexander.
У меня просто в пищевую паузу возникли судороги, поэтому я дальше не могу.
I have some problems during this procedure, and I stopped this like healing when you don't eat food, and I stopped it, but I will return.
Oh, fasting. Yeah. Yeah, fasting's tricky. Okay, Alexander.
I've been a little bit sick the last 2 days, and I thought it would be the best to cut my children's an apple the way they like it, so small pieces without the skin. And when I gave them the apples, I thought of the 3 spheres during the giving, and I rejoice in it, and I dedicate it to the health and purity and the enlightenment of all living beings.
Do you feel any better?
Yeah, directly afterwards I felt better. It's strange, let's say, but it works.
It's not COVID, is it?
No, I don't think so, but I'm not sure. No, I don't think so.
Well, I hope you feel
It's flu.
And good for thinking of the three spheres. That's very important, and I'm very pleased to hear that worked for you. Okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
recording, interpreting, backup, Olga backup. Mike.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're looking very light body there.
How's that? So much to celebrate. It was nice to see you last week, and nice to see so many teachers. And I'm rejoicing that we're finishing Diamond Cutter today, and for the world transmission. And happy to be done with Diamond Cutter. And yeah, thank you very much. And it was nice to see Awilda and Katja and Alexander. And am I missing anybody? Did I see anybody that I didn't mention? I don't think so. Yeah.
No,
Yes.
I think that covers it. It was great to see you again. Oh, I'll share something later with you about the hard drive question, but that's kind of off topic. Okay, who's left here? Christina. What do you have to rejoice in?
Christina shared in the chat.
Oh, I don't see the chat.
Yeah, Christina wrote that she can't speak.
Oh,
Ah,
okay. Well,
Hello. Hello, I can't talk today. My joy today, I try to think about joy when unpleasant things happen to me and I hear unpleasant words from loved ones addressed to me. And I am glad that today I filled out a diary. I thank you all for the opportunity to be with you here today.
well, we're glad to have you, and starting the diary, starting the book is wonderful. I'm working with one of my students to repair the app that we made that you can put on your phone for doing the 6 times book. We're working on that. I hope by Christmas to have the improved version ready. So, okay, my turn to rejoice. What do I have to rejoice in? Well, I had a miracle happen. It's not a very fancy miracle, but I had a 500 gigabyte drive in my computer. And when I replaced a different drive, when I turned it all back on, the 500 gigabyte drive now became a terabyte drive, twice the size. And I have no idea how that happened, but the data was retained on the drive. So I consider that just to be a miracle, basis of my karma ripening for helping people as quickly as I can with as much expertise as I can. So now the other thing is I got a message today from one of my contacts and one of my book contacts. And he said he was in a meeting in the Pentagon where a general was questioning someone. And the person said, well, that's not possible. And the general said, I read it in Stumpf's book. It's possible. So my book was quoted by a general in the Pentagon. That's amazing. I'm flabbergasted. So that's pretty nice. We're very excited about our retreat in Spain. We're getting ready, starting to pack for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, I know the other thing I'm rejoicing in. I have physical therapy for my posture due to Parkinson's. And I had a 45-minute session, and the physical therapist gave me all kinds of exercises, and I'm sore from doing all these exercises, but I think it's going to make a huge difference in my posture. And I rejoice that I have access to such medical personnel. So, okay. Well, let's get started. Okay, Katya, you're up now. Question number 1.
Yes. Give the Sanskrit and Tibetan names for the Diamond Cutter Sutra. In Sanskrit is Vajrashedika, and in Tibetan is Dorje Chupa.
Good. Okay, that was a pretty easy one. Hopefully you're going to get harder ones. Okay, number 2, Svetlana.
Explain the 3 meanings of the word diamond in the title. The diamond in the sutra is a metaphor for emptiness in the 3 senses. The first one, that diamond is the ultimate material. It is the hardest and strongest stone. That is the strongest material which we can find in our physical environment. The second one, that diamond is totally clear. If we put a wall of diamond, it will be totally transparent. We could not even see it, observe it. And the last, it's like the same with emptiness, that emptiness belongs to every object, but we don't perceive it directly each moment. And the first sense means that emptiness is the ultimate reality, and diamond is the hardest thing, that is the strongest thing in our physical world. And the third one is that if we break a diamond into pieces, each piece is similar to each other. They have the same structure. It is also about emptiness, that emptiness of different objects is the same. Emptiness of objects or emptiness of me is the same.
Good. Yeah, the diamond cutter, with diamond being the ultimate, seeing emptiness directly is more powerful, more ultimate than diamond itself. But diamond's the closest analogy. And then if you take a diamond is made of, well, it's chemistry, but tetrahedral. Diamond can come in planar or tetrahedral form. The planar form is graphite. Graphite is pure diamond, is pure carbon, but its structure is slightly different than diamond. And if you take a diamond and break it into tiny pieces, the only thing in a pure diamond is carbon. Now, if you take a ruby or a sapphire or an emerald, you'll find that there are other chemicals in it that may not necessarily be in the fragment when you break it. So that's the analogy for the diamond. Okay, number 3 is Michael.
And it's about the analogy for the diamond. So, as you said, diamond is a metaphor for emptiness.
So I
And
have number 3 being, why is it important to include the original word cutter in the title?
right, so diamond is the best thing that we could compare emptiness to in the physical world. And cutter means that emptiness even cuts through like a diamond. So like not even a diamond is comparable to like what is possible with emptiness.
Okay. Yeah. Then why is it important to retain the word cutter in the title?
So you don't think that it's like about diamonds or something, or that like emptiness is like that emptiness is diamond, or like that emptiness is like a diamond actually?
Right, right. The diamond is a metaphor throughout this, and it's important to keep that in place. And the fact that diamond is not mentioned throughout the sutra emphasizes that point very strongly. So good, good. Number 4. Number 4 is Evgeny.
Опишите объект, который мы отрицаем.
Describe the object that we deny when we speak about emptiness. The emptiness itself means the absence of something, and it's the same as nowadays. We don't have in my room like a 100-meter and purple elephant, and it doesn't exist, and it didn't exist, and it will not exist. And this is the object that we deny. And it is called gakcha. And it's what
Right.
the empty of emptiness.
Right. The gaksha is a self-existent thing that cannot ever, has never, will never exist. But we think of things as self-existent constantly. So until we have the direct perception of emptiness, that's a battle we must fight. Okay, number 5 would be Daria. Unmute.
И кратко опишите каждый из них.
Name the 4 bodies of a Buddha and describe each one briefly.
I'm so sorry, Olga. Could you translate?
Okay. So describe the 4
Сущностное тело.
The essence body is the absence of all 3 other bodies. Second is the body of enjoyment. This is like the purest body without any kind of solid substances. Emanation body that can travel all around the other worlds. And 4th is the wisdom body, is the body of enlightened being, but he has no present, past, and future in this world.
Okay, let's go back and look at each one of those again. The emptiness of the other 3 bodies is important because there's nothing self-existent even about the bodies of a Buddha. So we need to remember that they're empty of self-existent. The enjoyment body is the body in your Buddha paradise, and it stays in the Buddha paradise. That body doesn't go anywhere else. The emanation body is the physical form that you take when you want to go and help somebody. And it can be any emanation that's any kind of an object that would help another sentient being. The wisdom body isn't really a body. It's the omniscient mind of an enlightened being. Okay, number 6. Number 6 is Tatiana.
Существует много разных точек зрения.
Извините. There are many point of views on how long Buddha's teaching will live in this world. Tell 3 of them and tell the teachings. And in brief, describe the point of view that Choni Lama Drekpar Shedrup take and give us.
Я не быстро. Я назову, наверное, все просто коротко.
I will tell about all of them in brief. Sutra of Golden Era,
В чистой форме 500 лет после ухода Будды Шакьямуни.
500 years of existence after Buddhas were gone, and then as a shadow of the himself.
Рассказу четкие из пальцев Ангулимала.
According to the story,
После ухода лорда Будды.
Angulimala, Dharma will exist 1000 years after Lord Buddha will go away.
Запрошенная сущностью Луны.
Next is the Sutra of Asked Moon, 2000 years.
Сутра белого лотоса сострадания.
Then Sutra of White Lotus Compassion, it's 1500 years. Next is Sutra of Lady, it's difficult to translate. In this sutra, it is said that after 2500 years, after Lord Buddha will go, Dharma will then go on the earth of those who has like red faces. And Choni Lama says that Dharma will exist in this world 10 periods, 500 years each. It means that 5000 years.
Okay. So the ruddy-faced people implies coming to the West, and then Choni Lama's position is there's many more years left of the Dharma. But we can't take it for granted. And one of the important things, very important things about the ACI courses is you're training to become teachers. And I really hope that all of you, when you finish the 18 courses, will take on teaching, because we've got millions of people we have to educate. We have to, we have to expose them to the Dharma. It's not up to us to tell them they have to follow the Dharma, but it's up to us to explain it in such a way that they become interested and want to pursue it. So it's really very important for all of you to become teachers. Okay. Explain the three elements of the act of giving. And that would be, who's next? That would be Katya.
Yes,
Okay.
more difficult. Okay, then name and explain the three elements of act of giving and what it means not to see them. The emptiness of the giver is the fact that the person who is practicing the perfection of giving is empty of any self-existence. That is that I exist as a result of my past actions or my karma. And this same principle means that continue giving can help me perceive myself later as an enlightened being. Then if I understand this, then I don't see this element in an act of giving as being self-existence anymore. The emptiness of the person giving the gift is the fact that the person receiving the gift is empty of any self-existence. That is that the person who I am giving also it also exists as a result of my karma, of my past seeds. And And this principle will help me perceive them later as high beings in my Buddha paradise. Then the emptiness of the giving itself is the fact that this whole situation of me giving something is also empty of any self-existence. That is that this entire situation is also a result of my karma or my past actions, and this principle will help me perceive it later as the perfect and spontaneous activity of an enlightenment being.
Right. Well, the three spheres, how can I put this? The three spheres emphasizes the emptiness, the lack of self-existence. So when you're giving something to someone, you're the giver, then there's someone receiving it, and then there's what you are giving them. And the emptiness of all three of those means, for example, that I could give something to someone I think they'll like, and they may not like it. So does that mean I'm wrong in what I gave them? No, it means the emptiness of the object is something I like is not necessarily something they'd like. And that all comes from karma. So if I have that happen in the past, I rejected someone giving me something because I didn't like it. And now it's coming back to ripen with me that I'm trying to give somebody something and they don't like it. So you have to keep in mind the lack of self-existence to the person giving the object, to the object that's being given, and to the person receiving it. Okay, let's go to Svetlana for number 8.
Give two meanings of the Tibetan word for renunciation and explain its role in the direct perception of emptiness. The Tibetan word for renunciation is nyechung, and it translates as definitely come out. And in the first sense, it means to come out of the worldly life, so not to be attached to what we are loving to do, want to get, to some distractions of our worldly activities. And the second meaning means definitely come out of suffering. It means to reach nirvana, to come to the end of the suffering. So the point is that with renunciation, we can move to the second path, because we are sick of this suffering existence where nothing works. And when we are not distracted by worldly activities, we can have mental and physical resources and time to dedicate to study emptiness and move to the third path of the right perception of emptiness.
Very good. And I like to remember the three principal paths. There's no way to end without pure renunciation, this striving for pleasant results in the ocean of life. It is because of their hankering for life as well that beings are fettered, so seek renunciation first. Renunciation can never bring the total bliss of matchless Buddhahood unless it is bound by the purest wish, and so the wise seek the high wish for enlightenment. You may master renunciation and the wish, but unless you have the wisdom perceiving reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic life. Make effort in ways then to perceive interdependence. So renunciation, we retire, the 5 paths are the path of accumulation, the path of preparation, the path of seeing, the path of habituation, and the path of no more learning. So it's very important when we think of the path of accumulation. For the longest time, I could never remember that doesn't mean accumulating merit. It means accumulating disgust with this life and wanting to get out. Now, in the three principal paths, it talks about the pleasures of cyclic existence and things like that. And we tend to, if we're honest, we tend to think that we want to stay in samsara because it's so, for many of us, there are nice things going on. And that's the, what's the word? That's the deception of self-existent, of reality, because things, we need to renounce this attachment to the pleasures of this life, realizing that it's not what we think it is. So renunciation is the accumulation of disgust for this life. And path of preparation is studying emptiness. Path of seeing is having the direct perception. The path of habituation is getting used to what we saw. And then path of no more learning is actual Buddhahood. So it's important. I find it very nice to have something like the three principal paths memorized, the source of all my good memorized, the mind training, verses of mind training memorized, because it's helpful to bring quotes from these teachings into our everyday life. I find it just very comforting to be able to do that. Okay. We're on number 9 now. Yeah, Michael, you're up.
Name and describe the principle most important for reaching an intellectual understanding of emptiness at the path of preparation. And that's Chi Jedrak, which is general and specific, or quality and characteristic. So the difference between like cup and a cup, or the cup, or like this cup right here. And then I have there's different types of cheese. So type general T would be cup, like when I say cup, like whatever comes up. And then actual object general would be, thinking of a cup that's in my kitchen that I've seen, like my black cup, And then term general would be if someone said, like, think of a red cup, not referring to any specific cup that they've seen before, but just like when I say think of a red cup, that is term general. And then collection general is when you say cup, a cup is made of like a handle and an inside and an outside, and like all of that's made of ceramics, which is little tiny pieces of dirt, whatever, that are stuck together. So like it's a collection of parts that become the general object.
Right. There's the whole point of Chi Shedrock for me is you're trying to understand how we label something and how we think the label is self-existent. So by going through Chi Shedrock, Rick Cheese, and all of that, which we'll do in much more detail later, we get we develop the ability to analyze and start to really analyze what we do when we see something and how we react. Part of it is, like for the example he says here, the type general would be car, which is a quality or chi of a Chevrolet. Now, to say the word Chevrolet implies an automobile, but it doesn't imply a car because Chevrolet makes trucks. So all Chevrolets are not trucks. Well, how can I'm going down the wrong avenue here. Let me think. When you say the word Chevrolet, that implies cars. But when you say the word car, that doesn't imply Chevrolet because there are many different types of cars. So we need to be able to make the distinctions with Chi-Chedra, and that helps us understand how we project our karma. We'll go into that in much greater detail, believe me, much greater detail. So, okay, number 10 is Evgeny.
Назовите, по крайней мере, два.
Tell two real examples of four objects that is perceived by brain after the emptiness seen directly. First is person understands that he is not constant, that this body will die, he has to die, and during one day he can read others' thoughts and he can see others' mental afflictions. The second person understands that everything what he did before, it was not correct perception, and not in any moment of his life. And he understands that all actions, all kindness that he did in this world, it was with egoism, with wish, with pride. And the third person understands that the emptiness that he perceives directly, he sees Buddha, it was his essence body, and he understands when he will reborn, usually it will take 7 lives in future birth. And he understands that all Buddha's pictures, all status, and he understands that everything what was in scriptures, it is correctly. And this is the only correct way. And the fourth, a person understands that this is ultimate and correct way or path that he goes on, and that these teachings are correct. And in his heart, he feels what he he feels it. And he understands that now he wants to help all the living beings to go away from these sufferings. And also he understands that iron can become gold, and it's not some miracle, it's really so.
Now that one I still have trouble with, but good. Let's go back to the top. I think the most important is to really understand that we are impermanent. It's the hardest thing because we think impermanent means lack of self-existence, which it does, and then lack of self-existence means that we're not really here and all that comes with that. So it's really important that you develop at the very beginning, you develop the idea of you're not self-existent, but that doesn't mean you don't exist. Then when you realize that you've never had a correct perception at all, you've had valid perceptions, but correct perception requires the direct perception of emptiness. once you have the direct perception of emptiness, you realize the perception was accurate and correct, not a delusion or hallucination. And from what Geshe Michael says, I've had one student from South Africa come up to me and say, I've had the direct perception of emptiness. I need to talk to Geshe Michael. And she went on to describe the direct perception of emptiness, which Geshe Michael makes very clear is indescribable. So I think she had I told her I felt she had the direct perception of dependent origination, which is no small thing. But if you have the karma to emptiness directly, it will happen shortly after the direct perception of dependent origination. You can have that without going right into the direct perception of emptiness. I think it's occurred to me more than once. Yeah. Well, the example I have of dependent origination is when I was looking for something for the trip. I knew I had it, but I couldn't find it. I was looking for a gray rolled up mat. And when I finally stopped and thought, okay, you're not seeing that because it's not what the projection that you think that's the projection you need, but it's not. And I went back and thought, okay, I could have put it in the box. And sure enough, I went back to my closet and there was a box and in it was this gray mat. So my direct perception of dependent origination was understanding that I needed to rethink how the seeds that were needed to ripen to see that mat. It wasn't self-existently out there as a gray mat. It was not self-existently out there as a brown box, but together the two were something that my karma ripened, and I finally caught up with my karma ripening. Maybe that's one way to put it. Okay. Who's next? Daria, you've got question.
Yeah, 11. Did
Yeah.
the Buddha is his former life feel pain as his limbs were slowly cut off by the king of Kalinka, and he understood the emptiness of the three elements? Explain is some details. Yes, I think so. He felt the pain, awful pain, but he understood the emptiness of the three sphere, and he know this king who do for him pain. Yes, it's not a real king. It's his seeds, and seeds now is grow up. Yes, and he didn't feel to this king as angry or something bad.
Yeah, he knew.
He knew, yes.
He knew. Well, let's see.
He knew this king is come in his not existence, not existence.
He knew that the king was, the whole situation was a result of his karma ripening. And so if he wanted to have this repeat, he should get annoyed and defend himself. He did feel pain, but he realized that this was the king who was hurting him, himself being hurt by the king, and the fact that the whole situation was happening at all. Each had its own emptiness based on his karma. So the surest way for him to have this repeat would be to get mad at the king and defend himself. Instead, he realized it was his fault and he needed to deal with the consequences. So it's very important to be able to do that, to accept the fact that we're always looking for someone to blame for something. I don't particularly care for President Trump, and so my blame for that is in the past I behaved in a similar way and thought it was appropriate. But it's President Trump is ripening due to my past deeds, and I need to deal with that. So getting upset with him is the surest way to get him in my life again in the future. Okay, what's next here? Number 12, Tatiana.
Почему Будда в своей прошлой
Why Buddha in his previous life didn't feel anything anger for this king. He didn't feel anger because he understood that the reason of this situation is that he himself in the past made some hurt to others, and he understands that if he will answer with anger, he will recreate the next cycle and he will make a samsara cycle again. And in future, he would again feel this harm. So he decided to stop this violence circle. When I heard Evgeny, some ideas came to me that during when we see emptiness directly, Buddha was already Bodhisattva of the highest level. So he saw already emptiness directly. He already achieved nirvana. He was already arhat. So he saw his future lives during the process of when he see emptiness directly. So he could see this future, this situation in future. He could see how he would die or something like this.
Right.
So he was ready to behave properly.
Well, I draw the analogy for me and Parkinson's. I could get mad. I could sue the University of Arizona for allowing me to use chemicals that might have caused it. Or I can accept that it was my karma ripening for having inconvenienced others in the past. And if I wanted my present to reflect the future, I would have to not get angry at anybody for my getting Parkinson's. If anything, I'd be angry at myself. So this very important part of the teachings on emptiness is to know where to put the blame and accept it and live with it and work with it. Okay, number 13. We back up to Katya.
Yes. Describe the emptiness of an arhat's mind. It is like us. An arhat hears thoughts going through his or her mind because of their extremely good past karma. None of these thoughts is a negative emotion by their past karma. In the way that a human is forced to see a pen as something to chew on, the arhat is never again forced to perceive their otherwise neutral thoughts as being negative.
Right. An arhat has direct cessation of mental afflictions. And so they never have to see again anything. Their mental afflictions have ceased and they're ready for the final step for enlightenment. So they still, like us, have thoughts going through their mind, but they don't respond to them negatively because they understand where they're coming from. So when you don't respond negatively, I think that doesn't cover getting mad at yourself. It means, to me, it means being mad at somebody or something. But I'm not mad at myself for having Parkinson's. I'm sad that I developed the years of mistreating, not being inconvenient to other people. But I accept it. And I know, just like with the King of Kalinka, I know that if I want to not have Parkinson's in this life, or in the next, or the next after that, I need to take responsibility for it. I still get up every morning, swing my legs out of bed and think, today's the day I don't have Parkinson's. Hasn't happened yet, but that's how I've been able to take the teachings and absorb them into my life. Number 14, Svetlana.
Why doesn't the truth of suffering exist in a Buddha paradise? There are no negative karmas or mental afflictions to drive or produce the suffering on a constant basis, as it happens in our desire realm, in our suffering existence. So enlightened beings collected merit and they perceive ultimate and appearing reality simultaneously, so they are perpetuating bliss. So due to their merit, so there are no negative karma or mental afflictions, and it doesn't create any suffering.
I've struggled with this for a long time, and I've come to the conclusion that the truth of suffering exists, but there are no examples in a Buddha paradise, because Lord Buddha, or whoever it is, knows that a suffering being will become enlightened down the road. So it's not, it's like the truth of suffering is not self-existent. They know that, and because it's not self-existent, it's possible for people to not have it anymore. And there's no karma for a suffering existence. For suffering to exist, you'd have to have the karma to project the suffering. And a Buddha doesn't have those seeds anymore. So it's not, I take a bit of difference. It's not that the truth of suffering doesn't exist. It's that there's nothing for the truth of suffering to, there are no seeds to ripen the truth of suffering. So in one sense, it's not there because there's nothing to ripen. In the other sense, it's there, but Lord Buddha knows where the truth of suffering comes from. So that's kind of a tricky question. Number 15, Michael.
List the 4 forces for the purification of karma and name an early source for them. So the early source is the Sutra on the 4 practices taught by Lord Buddha. And then the 4 forces are when after committing a bad deed or while experiencing mental affliction. Refuge, regret, restraint, and remedy. So refuge in karma and emptiness, meaning that I'm experiencing the results of my past and my reaction will produce my future. Regret, the intelligent regret of realizing that something that we did was wrong. Restraint is thinking that we don't want to do it again or presented with the opportunity that we won't do it again. And then a remedy is an antidote for the deed or a makeup, something to make up for it. But the best remedy is in emptiness.
Right, right. So why do we call it the force of foundation? It's because, like the foundation, a sturdy foundation supports the building. The foundation of refuge supports our Buddhist practice. The force of destruction, we know we did something wrong, and we have the intelligent regret of a Buddhist. It's not like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's, I shouldn't have done that because it's going to be reflected in my future. And so you want to destroy that. And the force of restraining from the past, from the bad deed, means you're thinking and you're making sure that you don't do it again in a reasonable amount of time. It's very important not to think you'll never get mad at former President Trump again, Sumati. But what I can do is say, for the next day, when thoughts come up about how I don't want him to be president, I simply reflect that if more than half the nation wants him to become president, that's the will of the people. Then choose an antidote that's not so much easy to work with, but that you'll feel will accomplish the goal. Meditating on emptiness. If you're an FPMT student of Lama Zopa, you make tons and tons of plaster of Paris iconic statues. Or you can learn how to paint a Tonka. The easiest one for me, and I think the most powerful, is to just meditate on emptiness. And even more so than the meditation, apply it to your daily life. I'm trying to think of an example. Well, the fact that generals in the Pentagon are using my book as a reference, I just rejoice that accumulating the data gave them the opportunity to make an informed decision. And the reason all of that's happening is because I try very hard to respond instantaneously or as quickly as I can to requests that people make of me. My wife needed some stuff scanned and compiled, and I was in the middle of doing something, and I said, okay. She said, you don't have to do it right now. And I said, no, but I do. I need to do it right now, because if I do it right now, I'm setting the seeds to have others do something just as quickly for me. And I just think that's so important to really take the three spheres into account all the time during the day and go through the four forces, four powers of purification consciously. Okay. Number 16 is Evgeny.
Чони Лама Драква Шедру
Choni Lama Dragpa Shedrup mentioned that the name perfection of wisdom is given for four different names, but one of them is not for this. Name all these four objects and tell what is the real perfection of wisdom. First is the natural perfection of wisdom is like the same as natural nirvana or absolute reality, and it is called like this because nothing is connected with mental afflictions. The second is text is given as a literature of a great path. These are all sutras, and this is also the result of this path. The third is the path, perfection of wisdom. It is given as wisdom of bodhisattva that is imbued with extraordinary form of wisdom and method. And fourth is the resulting perfection of wisdom. It is a real perfection of wisdom, the fourth, and this is absolute form. It is described by three characteristics. The first characteristic is it is what has Arya. The second characteristic is made of non-dual characteristic, and the next is be empty of the object that we deny. So it's like empty of illusion. So this is not illusion, if say easy.
Okay. Natural perfection of wisdom is not the actual perfection of wisdom. The textual perfection of wisdom is what we're studying now. The path perfection of wisdom is wisdom of a bodhisattva. It's important to have bodhisattva in there because that's what's going to generate the wish to help all sentient beings. If you don't have the path perfection of wisdom, you're not going to reach total Buddha, total enlightenment. The actual perfection of wisdom that we're trying to do during the six perfections as bodhisattvas, we can't do until we become enlightened, but we can practice doing it. Okay, number 17. Number 17 is Daria.
There are two senses of extremes. Describe what it means to grasp to the extremes of existence and non-existence. Yeah, if I'm right. Okay, we have two extremes. Yeah, it's between. First, it's all things exist when we think that all objects exist independent of our projects. For example, I think if I cheated in exam and I got into an institute, it's first it's cause and second it's result, but it's not this. And second, it's not exist if I think that if the objects do not exist independent of our projects, yes. For example, if it not exists, I can if I see a tiger and I can go to the tiger if he's angry, or I can go out to meet a car, not meet or to the car, because it don't exist, and it's and I'm not exist.
Right. So these are the two sides of a cliff. You can either think that things exist independent of you, and so it doesn't really matter what you do, or the non-existence, and again, you think that because things don't exist, you can do whatever you want. So we need to remember that that isn't true. That things, by saying things are not self-existent, we're not saying they don't exist. They do exist, but they exist because of our karma, not because they're self-existent. Okay, let's go to 18. 18 is Tatiana.
Благодарю. Наш дорогой учитель.
Thank you. Dear teacher gives me the easiest question. Tell four differences of the Pabonka Rinpoche says that the real wisdom people of a real path doing four differentiations, they say that nothing exists naturally, but it doesn't like this, that nothing exists at all. And everything exists only really, but nothing exists really. What about the school of functionalists? They and other schools, they can't make differentiations between these four, between two, nothing doesn't exist, and two doesn't exist. I'm finished. Sorry for translation.
Oh, that's okay. Fourfold distinction, they say that nothing exists naturally, i.e. self-existent, but that it's not that nothing exists at all. Everything exists merely by convention, but everything exists without existing naturally. The point of error for the functionalists and other schools is their failure to distinguish between these four. So again, it's not that things, how can I put this? Thinking things are not self-existent could imply to those that have been taught these concepts poorly that since nothing's self-existent, nothing exists. And our point is constantly remembering that it's not that things don't exist, it's things that don't exist self-existently. There's no natural existence. Everything we see is a result of a projection of our past karma, period. So to think that if nothing exists, then it doesn't matter what we do is idiotic. Of course it matters what we do. That's really the bottom line. Okay. Let's go to number 19. No. Yeah, number 19, Katyana.
Me. Huh. Why do things
I'm
change?
sorry, Katya.
Yes.
Sorry.
Why do things change, and why do some things in our world cause other things? For example, why does medicine always work, and why are some investment strategies always successful? Because of the fact that the things are empty, is that things works. For example, the medicine is empty and has not inherent nature of being able to cure anything at all. Aspirin works for some people and for other people don't work because of their past seeds or their karma. Is the same for the investment. For some people are successful and for other people are not successful because it is depends of their imprints or of their karmic imprints on their mind or on their mind in the past.
Right. So the proof of that things are empty of self-existent can be explained through the use of aspirin, or in my sister's case, penicillin, or investment strategies. If aspirin worked all the time, let's see, how do I want to put this? The fact that aspirin doesn't work all the time means that the effect of aspirin is not in the pill you're taking. The effect of aspirin is in the number of times you've helped other people and relieved other people of painful or difficult situations. And the proof of that is, well, with my sister, the proof of that is if she takes penicillin, she'll get a very bad allergic reaction. If I take penicillin, it will, if my karma continues to ripen this way, it will take care of the infection. So how can the aspirin work in both ways? If it's self-existent, it should always work. And if it's self-existent, it actually, as we get further into the logic, if it was self-existent, it couldn't work because the molecule that is aspirin has to change in order for it to work, has to bind to a protein or to a nerve. And if it binds to it, it changes. So if it was self-existently aspirin, it couldn't bind because it couldn't change. And then it wouldn't work for anybody. Okay. What's next? Svetlana, 20.
Explain why the mind-only school believes that there must be a basis consciousness, where certain seeds created by karma are stored and then later give their results. So to solve those problems that someone was scared that nothing exists at all, there were created lower schools like mind-only school, which is talking about foundation consciousness, where all our karmic seeds, imprints are storing. So it's like storehouse or refrigerator of all our mental imprints, which are creating our reality. So from those mental imprints, our karma is ripening, and there is such foundation consciousness where all those imprints are storing.
But that doesn't truly exist. Okay. But the kunshi, the storehouse, doesn't exist. It's based on the idea that, well, let's see how I can explain this. It's as if they say there's the seed, that there's a storehouse for the seeds. And that, to me, implies that the seeds are self-existent. And if they're self-existent, they can't change and they can't ripen. So, no, you don't have a storehouse. You have the seeds are in your mind stream, constantly changing, in most cases growing and getting stronger and stronger. But if you do the 4 powers immediately after you do something wrong, it damages that imprint and makes it possible to actually to not have it happen at all. which is kind of a caveat when we say the four powers, the four laws of karma. We say the last one is it must ripen. But if you do the four powers of purification, you can stop a bad deed from ripening at all. So there's got to be, and the four laws, when we recite the four laws, the last one we have to say, karma must ripen unless you do the four powers of purification and you do it properly. Then it won't ripen. Okay. Who gets the last one? Michael, number 21.
Right. Explain why the viewpoint expressed by Huashang and others that morality is unnecessary because things are empty is totally mistaken. I have, because morality is the basis for everything. Without morality, none of this works. Emptiness is the whole reason that we need to be moral. Our deeds impress upon our empty mind, and that is what forms our experience of the world. And to say morality doesn't matter is just wrong.
Right. Let's see, how can I? When they say empty, they don't add the of self-existent. They think when they say empty, they mean it's absent. It doesn't, there's nothing there. There's no reason. And we say, we always follow, they're empty of self-existence. They're empty of self-existence. So that's the difference between that the lower schools and the higher schools is we follow it with the fact that they're empty of self-existence. So you always have to be careful as you're reading Buddhist philosophy to make sure that you don't catch yourself saying, well, if they're empty, I can do whatever I want. Because what we're really saying, they're empty of self-existence, so you have to do the right things. Okay. Well, that's our final. We now have the answers, so you can get 100% on the final. Let's take a minute or two. Let's take, what time is it now? It's 11:30. Let's go to 11, my time, 40 after the hour, and we'll start the transmission. It's going to take about an hour and a half. So and I know that's a long time, but we're basically pouring. When you listen to the diamond cutter, don't try and understand it in the sense of what does he mean by this or that. I'm basically pouring the diamond cutter into your mind stream, and that's the power of a transmission by a lung. So okay, see you. And if you have questions, hang around and ask me, and we'll see you at 20 to the hour. Then we'll do our dedication.